You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
We gotta do something. Absolutely. You know what we gotta do? Toga party.
Toga! Toga!
Toga!
Toga! Toga! Toga! Toga! Toga! Toga!
Click, click, boom! I'm coming down on the stereo, put me on the radio. Click, click, boom!
I want you to kill every golfer on the course.
Check me if I'm wrong, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they're gonna lock me up and throw away the key.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh?
It is Hump Day, and this is Robinson and Wright. We're actually, I was going to say we're back on Wednesday nights, but this is the first time we've ever been anywhere but Friday, so it feels a little weird. I am one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. He's the other half, Mr. Dan Wright, and it's been about 2 weeks since we've done this thing. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. Still, doing the thing. Got the nose to the grindstone, trying to kick butt, take names, watching the left completely implode, and now people are like protesting outside of Tucker Carlson's house for crap that he said like 20,000 years ago. Fun times.
I'm getting a little tired of this, and I don't care what side it's on. The digging back into 10, 12, 13 years into somebody's past for something they did on a freaking shock jock radio show. I mean, come on. I'm not a big fan of any of the news networks. I really don't watch Fox, but I've always liked Tucker Carlson. I liked him when he was on MSNBC. I liked him on Fox. I still like him. I think he's talented. I think he does a very good job of conveying his point, and that's his job. And what he said on the Bubba the Love Sponge show a decade ago has nothing to do with who he is or what he's doing now. The Bubba the Love Sponge show. I've heard it a couple times. It's a cheap knockoff of Howard Stern, who I don't even like anymore either. But that's all it is. It's a dude that was riding off of Howard's coattails, and he's been riding off of his coattails at XM. I don't know if he's still on XM, but it's just this is just a joke. It's Media Matters dug to find something on Tucker Carlson because they want Tucker Carlson off the air. That's what the media does now. That's what journalism is now. Let's dig and try to screw somebody's career up. And I said it today to a guy on Twitter. I said, okay, well let's go back through the library of Howard Stern and because I used to listen to Howard Stern religiously, I mean, years ago, I listened to him religiously. I guarantee you, you can find stupid things that current people on CNN, MSNBC, or elsewhere in the news said on his show. And you know what? I don't care. This whole rage mob of let's get this guy fired and ruin his life is getting really old. You know, it's the same people that will dismiss whatever Joy Reid said, but they're going to go after Tucker Carlson for joking around on a radio show. What Joy Reid said, she wasn't joking around, but they dismissed that like it was not. Well, she's different now. Really?
I'm not sure what they mean by different, because it's I don't know.
Yeah, it's if you're a progressive, you can change your views on things no matter what. But if you're a conservative and you said one bad thing 10 years ago, you need to be lynched. Is basically what it's down to. And I'm tired of seeing people have to apologize for nothing on both sides. You say that it's one-sided. It's definitely lopsided. But then, they do this to a conservative. Then when it happens to a progressive, it's like you set the bar. It doesn't work one way. It works both ways. You set the bar. Don't be upset about it. And then they get all upset about it. I don't care what Tucker Carlson said on a stupid radio show a decade ago. I don't care. And why anybody cares, I don't know. It's a show that was based on nothing but jokes.
I mean, now I want somebody to go take apart the Man Show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, let's do that.
That's actually,
And let's see. I bet you they hold Adam Carolla to a different standard.
I bet you they do. But it's too bad we don't have as much time on our hands as apparently these people did, because I would love to be able to go back and watch old liberal shows and take them apart and be like, why was this okay if it wasn't okay for Tucker?
Yeah. I mean, I know that there were at least celebrities, at least movie stars and TV stars, if not news people, that used to go on and do the crazy game shows and stuff on Howard Stern. And they wouldn't have, there's no way Howard Stern can get away with now what he was getting away with 20 years ago. There's no way. And there were plenty of progressives now in the media that did his show back then. But are they going to dig into that? No. I had a guy tell me on Twitter, I brought that Howard Stern show thing up, and he goes, yeah, but Howard Stern's not a political, he's not a political analyst or a political commentator. I said, oh, what Bubba the Love Sponge is?
And honestly,
Howard Stern's more of a political commentator than Bubba the Love Sponge. I used to listen to his show. He talked politics a lot.
Oh, I know. He always did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Everybody that does talk radio format talks about politics at least a little bit. I mean, shit, there's the Bobby Bone show on a country station, and they at least touch on politics a couple times a show. I mean, everybody talks politics to a point, but and this is going to be something I'm actually going to bring up with Chad on the next hour, because I think we're getting to the point where we are actually in the middle of a cold civil war, and we just don't want to admit it. And both the media and social media are facilitating our eventual rush to a hot civil war, because nobody knows how to communicate with anybody anymore without being a total douche.
No, and I try. I try so hard, but I can't. Once somebody goes completely ad hominem with me, then I'm like, okay, this is over. I'm going to give it right back to you. But I try really hard, and you just can't. You can't because 3 or 4 lines into a conversation, it's okay, a-hole, or okay, S-head, or okay, Nazi, or, really, you're going to call me a Nazi now? Really? That's my reaction now. It's like, oh, you got to call me a Nazi? Do you? Really? Is that where this has to go?
Just proves to me you think you're losing the argument, because now you're attacking me instead of talking about what we're actually discussing.
Right, because if you don't agree with the new Green Deal, or you don't agree that abortion should be able to happen while the child's coming down the birth canal, you're a Nazi now. Really? I'm a Nazi because I don't believe in genocide? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it seems to me that the approach would be the opposite. The funny thing is, the people that are accusing us of being Nazis are now actually, doing things that Nazis did, like, openly calling for people to be murdered, like babies. But yeah, we're the Nazis.
Oh, and we're getting close. I mean, with what they want to do in the way of healthcare, they'll be getting close to. Well, they're old; they can just die. We don't want to save them. It costs too much money. Let's just let's euthanize the babies, and let's euthanize the elderly.
Yeah, I mean that's basically where we're headed now. It's what kind of, no matter how much money we spend and how much longer we keep them alive, we need to start talking about what their quality of life is. And what scares me about conversations like that is then you have people like me that start coming into the equation, because there are days that I legitimately cannot get out of bed because of nerve damage and a few other things that are going on. So if we start talking about old people that are a drain on resources, and therefore what quality of life do they have after they say reach 65 years old, we should just probably start euthanizing them. And people laugh when I say this, but things like that have been being talked about on shows for a long time. That was actually one of Star Trek's things. Star Trek was one of the first sci-fi shows that actually tried to bring political commentary into the living room, and it did it in really different ways. One of the things that I found the most interesting was during Star Trek The Next Generation, one of the episodes, for anybody who doesn't know, and I don't know how you wouldn't, but the character that eventually became their chief engineer is played by LeVar Burton, Geordie LaForge. He was actually blind. He had beamed down to a planet to assist with something, and had basically come face to face with a society where they get rid of anybody that has any birth defects. They run tests to find out whether they're going to be perfect or not. They kill them in utero if they're not perfect. And the funny thing is, what wound up saving that entire planet was the technology that actually was used to create his visor and allowed him to be able to see. And so things like this have been on the minds of people for a long time, and it's been things that we've always been scared of. But for some reason, we don't seem to be scared of them anymore, because now we're running toward them, not away from them.
Well, yeah, there's countries in Europe that are trying to eradicate Down syndrome. It's almost to the point where if your baby gets tested and it's determined that your baby has Down syndrome, it's encouraged that you abort the baby. Encouraged. But where does it move from encouraged?
Well, yeah, eventually it'll become mandatory.
Oh, you have to abort this baby.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, for sure, it's definitely going to become mandatory, because that's what they're going to be pushing for. And that's why they're pushing for it in the way they're pushing for it. And it just, I don't know. I mean, the further that we run towards this socialist nightmare, the more I just realize that we've completely lost touch with what made us a great nation. We have people that are trying to remind us on a daily basis. We have people working to revive the economy. We have people reminding us, it's not a bad thing to say that you're proud to be an American. Do you know, I had somebody look at me like I was insane the other day because I actually said I was proud to be born here. You know what they said to me? You can't control that. You were born here. You didn't have any control over it. You just got lucky. You won the lottery from the day you were born. I said, I won the lottery from the day I was born? I spent the first 10 years of my life eating government cheese. Don't tell me I won the lottery.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we everybody hits hard times. The problem in this country is that it people now think that hard times automatically mean that everybody needs to help you through the government, and that's not. When you hit hard times, you pull yourself up and you get through it. I've had hard times. You've had hard times. Everybody's had hard times. That's part of life. You pull yourself through it. I pulled myself through it. You've pulled yourself through it. Everybody can pull themselves through it. But now they feel like that the government needs to help. And the government is not there to help you pull yourself through hard times. That's not what it's there for. This country was not created like people think. I mean, you look at some of these progressives and they say, America just isn't what it should be, isn't what it's supposed to be. People shouldn't be poor. People shouldn't go hungry. Well, yeah, it sucks if people go hungry. And you can have a limited government, state-run kind of thing to help people, but it's not the federal government's job to make sure everybody can eat and everybody has health care. I mean, everybody has health care. Any nonprofit emergency room has to treat you. I don't want to hear, and I work in hospitals, and I know what it is. I talk to people. I mean, it done, yeah. Real good job Obamacare did, because they said that it really didn't change the amount of people who come in without insurance. People couldn't afford Obamacare. And on that point, on Obamacare, when we were talking about, euthanizing the elderly, the guy, and I cannot think of his name now off the top of my head, but the guy that basically was behind at least the mastermind behind writing Obamacare and everything else, he believes in that. He believes that healthcare should be for the young, that he believes that we are extending people's lives too far, that we weren't made to live as long as we're living. That's scary right there.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the thing that we're staring in the face and nobody but a handful of people seem to want to even acknowledge the fact is the entire left agenda has to do with one world government and population control.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see it now. I mean, just between, if you look at how strategically placed Planned Parenthood centers are, they are strategically placed. They're strategically placed for population control.
Yeah, so...
Hold on. I got to adjust my tinfoil hat a little bit. There.
Well, at this point, we're both wearing them. But speaking of tinfoil hat, did you see the story USA Today put out yesterday?
Oh, did I?
Because it dovetails nicely into what you're talking about right now, and I actually kind of wanted to get your take on it. Because Jen was off last night because she's doing a work thing, so Leslie took her chair last night, and we were talking about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make sure that I talk to Dan about this because I really want to get his take on it. How in the hell can pollution be racist?
Well, I don't know, but here was my take on it. I don't know if you saw my take this morning. Okay. 100 white people get into their cars and drive 100 miles. 30 people of color get in their cars and drive 100 miles. Which group put out the most emissions?
I don't know.
Well, obviously, 70, I kind of screwed that up. 70 white people get into their cars, drive 100 miles. 30 people of color get in their cars and drive 100 miles. Obviously, the group with the 70 people put out the most emissions. But apparently, that group is racist because they put out the most emissions. Even though there's 70 of them as opposed to 30. It makes them racist.
Well, what makes it racist is that basically, by your math, more than double of white America can afford cars as opposed to people of color America. That's why we're racist.
I'm just doing it. I'm doing it as a basic split on the split in America.
Oh, I know. I'm just being facetious.
Right, I know. I just, did it really take a study to figure that out? But so the study says, and I know the study's a little deeper than that. Corporate America and these factories and everything else are mostly owned by white people. Well, huh?
That's pretty much how I sounded all of the entire segment when Leslie and I were trying to talk about this last night. I was just like, huh? Actually, I was so speechless. I've come up with this new idea because everybody always does this. On the dumb tweets, they'll quote tweet it and they'll be like, narrator says blah blah blah. So I've come up with, for like the really dumb ones. The first time I did it, I actually kind of spelled it out, and I'm like, narrator, put it in the little asterisk, and then ... opens mouth to speak ... I got nothing, exit stage left. So last night, instead of doing it that way, I did it in GIF form. So it was narrator ... and then because you can't put GIFs in a quote tweet, so I did it below it. So I put the shocked face with the guy just looking there and his eyes darting around everywhere, and then it was like, I'm out, and does the backflip off the stage. Yeah, that because that's basically all I had for this. I mean, the idea that we have hit peak stupidity in 2019 for right now, because when the election cycle starts up, it's going to be even worse again. Speaking of which, it's officially restarted. I just keep blocking that from my memory. But so we've hit the point where everything is racist. It's all racist. And what the whole thing about when everything becomes racist, that means nothing is actually racist. Because if everything is racist, then nothing can be.
Yeah, it's like if they came out and they said, what would happen if they came out and they said, well, poorer people are causing wealthier people to have health problems because poorer people drive more banged up cars that put out more emissions.
Well, yeah, that was.
Can you say that? Can you say that though?
Well, Obama did. That was the whole idea behind Cash for Clunkers.
That's true.
Nobody said anything when he said it because, it can't be racist when a black guy says it. All right, we've got to take a break because we got a late start. I've got to get things back on track for the next hour. This is Robinson and Wright, now on our new home on Wednesday nights right here, KLRNradio.com. We are live. We'll be back in about 3 minutes, so don't go away.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. you'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Alright folks, welcome back. We are live right here on KLRNradio.com. It is Wednesday night, it's March 13th. We are in hour 3 of the new 4 hours of, fastest 4 hours of conservative talk radio that you're going to find anywhere. I am Rick Robinson. The other half of the crew is Mr. Dan Wright. Some of you tuning in right now are like, wait, we thought you guys were on Fridays. Well, there's been a programming change. This is our new home, Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. Be here or don't. We don't care, because you can always listen to us on podcast. But no, really, you should come hang out live and chat, because, you know, it's getting late, and I've noticed the chat room's getting thinner and thinner as it goes on, and I'm like, yeah, we're late. Everybody will listen to the rest of it tomorrow, because they're all going to bed, because half the country still has time change hangover. Which is a great segue to another topic that we were going to talk about, because apparently President Trump has brought it to everyone's attention that he would like to do away with daylight savings time and make this time zone the official time zone for the entire country. So there would be no more daylight savings time, or Eastern Daylight Time versus Eastern Standard Time, or Central Standard Time versus Central Daylight Time. We would actually just stay in this time zone. I don't know about you, because everybody else always talks about permanently locking it in the other way. I know that eventually I would adjust, because there would be no lag, but I have always felt like I'm more in sync when we jump forward than I am when we fall backwards. As a matter of fact, for that 4.5 months that everybody's all dancing around because they supposedly gained a mythical hour of sleep, I feel like a zombie for the entire time.
Yeah, I don't do well with either time change. It just screws me up. It all screws me up. I say, you leave it here, get that done, and run on that in 2020, and you win.
But see, here's the thing. Does he run on leaving it now so we get the extra hour of daylight at the end?
Yes.
Or does he run on pushing it backwards and leaving it that way? Because he's going to split the country now. Because there's leave it this way camp, and then there's put it back the other way camp. And I'm not sure how much more he can split the country.
Way camp, they just want to have one more year of gaining an hour of sleep. That's all. Leave it here. I don't care if it's dark in the morning when I'm miserable going to work. I want it to be light in the afternoon when I'm happy going home from work.
No, I mean, I agree with you, but I'm just saying, can the president actually afford to split the country one more time?
I think just overall everybody would be happy if it was just done away with. It's just a pain. But do you know what I did for about 5 hours today? I went from medical office building to medical office building with a company that's too cheap to put real access control on their buildings. I went from building to building, moving their timers ahead so their doors would unlock at the right time in the morning and lock at the right time every night. Getting up into ceilings and moving timers ahead. Can we just stop now?
Yeah, but think about the job security that's giving you, though.
We don't need it.
No, see, I'm just using that as an argument because that's what I hear every time I go to one of my bosses and start talking about a way that we could streamline things to make things better for the customer. They're like, but if we did that, think about the job security you would lose. I don't care because then I don't have to deal with the craziness when we could fix this really, really simply.
Yeah, but see, Rick, when these cheap management companies that don't want to change things now, as their timers go bad, all the new timers do it automatically.
Yeah, that's true. That's all right.
So,
in the field that I'm in, I give it about a decade, and artificial intelligence will be doing my job anyway. And then I'll be on board with your brother about the UBI. I need UBI. The robots took my job.
Well, you got to remember something though. The robots create more jobs though.
So,
somebody's got to work on the robot.
This is true. Actually, it's funny. I actually was reading an article. I don't remember where it was. It was in one of the Danish countries or something. They actually have a fast food restaurant that's completely automated. There's like one human employee that's just there in case something breaks.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting there, and but let's keep pushing the $15 minimum wage. Let's keep pushing that. I really think in this country, I really think we like to see people working. But if you're going to push the $15 minimum wage, well, I mean, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah, did you notice?
There will be no such thing as an entry-level job anymore.
Yeah, did you notice that, like, the day Seattle made that decision, kiosks popped up in pretty much every McDonald's?
Yeah.
Like, overnight, they were just like, because, I don't go to McDonald's that often, so it was probably, honestly, about a week between visits. But within the week of that news story breaking, there's a McDonald's not too far from my day job. And I walked in, and suddenly there were the same kiosks that I had seen being tested, like, by folks from, like, Carl's Jr., things like that were there. And the scary thing is, you can't go to the cash register anymore to order. You can only go to the cash register to pay if you don't have a debit card. I actually watched them push some 70-year-old guy came to the counter the last time I went to that McDonald's, which was about a month ago. He's like, I don't really understand the machine. Can I order here? They walked him over there and processed his order for him just to walk him back over there so he could pay. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, they've got them at Taco Bell here now.
See, I avoid Taco Bell like the plague because it gives me the plague anytime I go. It's bad.
Well, I do too, but the kids like Taco Bell.
That's because kids don't have taste buds.
The last time I went was the night of my company Christmas party. And the kids wanted Taco Bell, so I was like, okay, cool. And we did call ahead, which Taco Bell also has. You just call and you just go up there and just pay for and pick up your order. I mean, I walk in and they got this kiosk, and everybody's just walking up and boom, 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 placing their order. I didn't see anybody at a register the whole time I was there. And Little Caesars, you call and order your pizza, and they send you a code for your phone. They put your order in a little thing that's got little doors on the outside, and you just walk up, and it's got your order number on the little screen, and you put your phone up there and click. The door unlocks, you open it up, you take your order. It's already paid for.
Yeah, I just, the whole idea of automating jobs really has kind of terrified me for a long time. Like, now we have self-checkouts at grocery stores. The thing that annoys me about self-checkouts is, if I'm going to be doing the job that you're paying other people to do, where the hell's my W-2?
Yeah, there's a really good bit by Bill Burr you need to listen to.
I think that's honestly probably where I got the idea for that terrible job.
Yeah. He talks about being out on the road. If anybody doesn't know Bill Burr, one of my favorite comedians, and he talks about being on the road, and he misses going to the towns that have mom and pops restaurants and stuff, and he goes to this town and he walks into this chain sandwich shop, and he walks up there and places his order. He says, "Yeah, I want a turkey and Swiss on rye with lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise." The guy behind the counter goes, "Turkey and Swiss on rye with lettuce and tomato." And he goes, "And mayonnaise." I goes, "Oh, the mayonnaise is right over there, sir. You put it on yourself." And he looks at the guy and he says, Do you know me? And the guy says, "No." He says, "Do you know why? Because I don't effing work here. I'm paying for 100% of the sandwich. I want you to make 100% of the sandwich." And then he rolls from the whole restaurant thing right into the self-checkout. He says, "Roll up there with my shopping cart. No one's up there to help me check out. I guess that means everything's free. I'll just roll my shopping cart right out the door."
Yeah, they're fixing that too. Apparently, Amazon is test marketing stores now that keep up with everything by barcode, and you don't even have to check out. You just basically roll through a little scanner, and it charges whatever account you have on file with Amazon, and then you go bag your groceries and you leave.
Yeah, and they're actually, I guess Amazon is in partnership with Whole Foods, and one of the Whole Foods here is working with something along that lines too, where it actually just scans everything in your cart for you, and then you just bag it up and go.
Which sounds really, really great when you're living in a world that moves 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and nothing ever stops. But I mean, think of all the entry level positions that we're automating now, that we're just completely doing away with. And what does it say about our economy to begin with when we have people, and our education system to boot, when we have people that are 30, 40, 50, 60 years old that have never had anything more than those entry-level positions?
Right. Well, and the thing is, though, we talk about self-checkout. If you walk into a Walmart now, they don't even, they can't get cashiers. They just can't. It's like, honestly, it's like people don't work. And Walmart does not pay bad entry level. They don't. To me, it's just people just don't want to work. They just, our Walmart here, the one end of the checkout area up front was 10 self-checkout kiosks, and they just tore out a bunch of the checkout lanes at the other end and put in like 15 more. But you go into a Walmart, and I think some people don't understand what kind of volume a Walmart does. But they got like 4 registers open. But if you ask anybody, they say, "Well, we just don't have the help." Well, it's going to get to the point where people are going to need entry-level jobs, and they're just not going to be available anymore. They're just not going to be there. You can't blame Walmart for doing it. They got to get people out of their stores. They're tired of listening to people complain that they stand in line for an hour to check out. So, okay, you want to move on out fast? Here. They've got the scan and go, where you just walk through the store and you scan everything you put in your cart. You go up to the checkout, you plug your little scanner in, and it rings you up. So you basically check yourself out while you're doing your shopping.
Helps if I remember that I'm muted. Sorry, I've actually been trying to contribute for like the last minute, and I was like, "What? Wait! Oh, I'm not hearing anything." I mean, again, you can't blame the business owners for finding ways to streamline things and for finding ways to save themselves money. Because, I mean, let's face it, the most expensive thing about any organization is the human capital. We've actually, for the longest time, we saw a push away from actually training people because the businesses were afraid to invest in training their people because they were afraid they would just take what they taught them and leave. The thing about that is that's always a risk. But the point is, if you keep treating your employees like they're numbers and you don't teach them how to succeed at the jobs that you've put them in, then eventually they're just going to leave anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, you brought up a good point. I mean, back when I was in restaurant management, the biggest part of my pay was my bonus. I didn't get paid a whole lot. I worked off of bonus checks. And the biggest chunk of my bonus, the biggest portion of my bonus was my labor goal. I had to keep my labor below 20% of sales. My labor could not be any higher than 20% of my gross sales. And they do that because labor is the most expensive part of your business.
Yeah, Ron brings up a good point back to when we were talking about training a second ago. I won't use the word he used, but he said training people is way more effing expensive than a kiosk and any shrinkage you might suffer. Ron, I agree with your point, but please let's not talk about shrinkage in the chat, okay? Just saying.
No, but he is 100% correct. It's like that's why I've mentioned that we're constantly shorthanded. It's really hard. I mean, we just lost a guy in my business. It takes years to really learn everything. And I mean, we just lost a guy that's been with us for like 5 years. He was just getting to the point where he could really just do things on his own. It took 5 years of training to get him there. And then he jumps ship and goes somewhere else. And he didn't do it for money. Honestly, this is what kills me. He did it because he didn't want to work as many hours. This is a young guy. He's not even 30. He didn't want to work as many hours. And he didn't want to have to take his on-call in the rotation once every 7 weeks. That's why he jumped ship and went somewhere else. He went somewhere else he's going to be making less money, and he's not going to get the benefits he got. But he didn't want to work as hard. I'm seeing too much of that stuff. But that's expensive. We spent 5 years getting this guy where we needed him, and then he just leaves.
Yeah, and I mean, as somebody that's done management, that is actually really disheartening. I mean, when you take time to build a relationship with somebody and you try to train them and, show them the ins and outs, and suddenly they take a deal to go elsewhere. I mean, I understand exactly why that stings as much as it does and why for the longest time management's basically been... I mean, think of it from this perspective. Management at business had kind of turned into how the Army treats its infantry. Because for those of you who have not ever actually seen this, active duty infantry members are actually listed on requisition forms. for like other supplies and, things that they order. They actually have a requisition number for infantrymen. And at some point, that actually kind of became the corporate model is, it doesn't really matter because if we lose them, that's just, they're one cog in a machine and we could just replace them. So the idea to train them started becoming less and less palatable. But at the same time, when the corporate structure was moving that way, our education system started moving that way. I submit that it's not just corporate America that doesn't want people well trained. It's also our education system that doesn't want people well trained because they don't teach critical thinking anymore. The reason that the very guy that you were just talking about that took a job that gave him less pay and worse benefits because he got to work less hours, to him that was the trade-off. Because he hadn't been taught critically to think about it and say, well, yeah, I'm going to get to be home a little bit more, but my benefits are going to suck and I'm going to be making less money. Anybody that has the ability to critically think about a job, that's like mine. There are days that I wake up every single day and I curse my job from the minute I clock in till the minute I clock out, except for when I'm dealing with our customers and except for when I'm dealing with the people that I deal with directly there. But in my head, I'm screaming the whole time I'm in there. But I have to weigh the benefits. I have a job where I have a set schedule. I don't get paid bad per hour for what I do. And I have more paid vacation time than I know what the hell to do with. Not to mention 10 paid holidays.
Yeah, I get that. I would love that. I get 15 days a year of PTO. I can use it for vacation. I can use it for I'm sick. I can use it for whatever. My benefits that way aren't great. My health insurance, my boss tries really hard. It got really hard. Everybody knows over the last 9 years, it got really hard. But we have decent health insurance. But what we also have, what I consider a benefit, is that our company is a family-first company. Now, yeah, I might have those paid days off. Say I have a death in the family and I have to travel somewhere and I'm going to be gone for 4 or 5 days. I get paid for those days and it doesn't go against my PTO. If my kid gets sick and goes into the hospital and I got to take a couple of days off, I get paid for those days. It doesn't go against my PTO. Anything comes up family-wise, it's never a question, no matter how busy we are, something comes up, go take care of your family. Go do what you need to do with your family. Go to the function. Go to your kid's function, whatever. It's never a question. That, to me, is a benefit. Because I know a lot of companies that, I've heard horror stories of, so-and-so's mom died and they had to take 3 days off work. They came back and they were let go.
Yeah.
My company, the company I work for has gone from when I started there were 4 employees, including my boss. And now we're at 50 employees with offices in 4 states. And the family feeling is still exactly the same. And it will never change. Well, I won't say that. If the company was to get bought or something, like my boss decided to sell it, I'm sure it would change. But as long as he owns it, it's never going to change. He's one of 12 kids.
Yeah. No, honestly, that was the one thing that was kind of a bit of a shock to me in the beginning with where I work now. They actually, because, from the day I started, I got basically right around 8 hours of PTO every 2 weeks. Now that I've been there for going on 6 years, it's 10 hours every 2 weeks. So they literally give you enough PTO that you can use for combination sick time, whatever the case may be, that they actually don't offer any type of bereavement. And I was kind of shocked by that because back when I didn't really understand how all that worked, because everywhere else I'd ever worked, even McDonald's had bereavement leave. You got to go home. You didn't get paid for it, but you didn't take an attendance occurrence or anything for going to the funeral. I had to take an absence to go to my father-in-law's funeral. And that had, even to this day, that has never actually set with me. But that's part of the work that I do. I swear, I feel like I took a job and found a career path that reminds me of being back in junior high school. Because I actually get clocked for tardies and absences as an adult. That is really annoying.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be, if you work for my company and you're habitually late and you're habitually calling in sick, they're going to say something. Any company is. But, I pretty much, I had a combination last week. I had a combination of a sinus infection and I have a tooth that I cracked. I bit down on something and cracked it a little while back, and it decided to get infected at the same time I had a sinus infection. So it literally felt like my face was just going to fall off. And I called in one morning. I texted my boss and I said, look, I have got to go to the doctor today. And he was like, well, you must be sick, because I just don't call in sick. I mean, I got to really be, if I'm really, really sick, I do call in sick. But he knows that. He knows I don't abuse it. We do have a guy that does. If he has a sniffle, he calls in sick. But he has his review and what kind of raise he gets and everything is reflected on that. Other than the fact that he calls in sick a lot, he does good work. So, it's a trade-off, and that's part of what I like about working for a small business. But like I said, the bereavement with the company I work for, I mean, you can't beat it. I mean, something like that happens in your family, they pay you for it, and it doesn't go against your PTO, and there's no questions asked.
Yeah, see, I like that. All right, my friend, well, I hate to do this to you, but we've got the other hour coming up behind us, so we got about 30 seconds left. Why don't you remind folks where they can find you when you're not hanging out with me?
You can find me on Twitter at Thelonious Irish, and you can find me at Facebook, and it's just Daniel Wright. Search Daniel Wright and look for my ugly mug. I'll be there.
All right, folks, well, that's going to do it for this particular episode of Robinson and Wright. That's right, we are on Wednesday nights from now on, and at least for as long as the show continues, this is where you can find us, but it is officially over. I hate to tell you that. Coming up next is America Off the Rails with yours truly and my special guest, Chad Alexander from KOKC 1520 AM, and we'll be right back. So,
over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
See you guys in a minute.